Between 10 and 15% of us live in the countryside, live in rural parts of these islands. And their ways of life are somewhat different to those living in the centre of the cities. And fishing and shooting are, whether you like those sports or not, a very, very important part of what is going on. I'm joined by Metcalf-Fisher, External Affairs Director at the Countryside Alliance. Let's start with the good news.
Yeah.
And the good news is that attempts to restrict angling, whether it's sea angling or rivers or lakes, is getting worse and worse. But you have just won a battle on this.
We have in North East Derbyshire, so just outside of Chesterfield, there's a lido in Wingerworth, been enjoyed for many, many, many years by the local community for angling. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Suddenly, a ban is introduced on the grounds of creating a biodiversity hub, which, of course, no one could actually answer at the council what that meant, given that angling and nature go hand in hand together. We thought it was very curious. We have fought back alongside local anglers on the ground against what we saw as an extremely fishy ban. We have been met for the last few months with nothing but resistance from the council, officers sort of trying to come up with new ways to throw anglers under the bus, claiming that the complaints were being made about antisocial behaviour when we did a Freedom of Information Act request. That was a complete and utter load of nonsense.
So you've overturned that one, that's good. But the bigger concern is shooting. Now, most of you watching this programme at home probably won't have a shotgun, but there are very good reasons to have a shotgun. Tell us what they are.
All sorts of reasons, Nigel, and it varies from people that go pigeon shooting all the way up to people like farmers who need shotguns for pest control, making sure that their livelihoods are protected, but also gamekeepers and just general issues around animal welfare management, but also, not to underestimate, the huge amount of money that is pumped into the rural economy through shooting itself. It's absolutely massive. And this consultation that's coming up threatens the rural economy. Let's think about the context right now, Nigel. We have a countryside that really feels that government isn't listening to it. We've had the family farm tax fallout, the drama around that, completely unnecessary for the Labour government to go down that road, and it has. And rather than think, actually, let's perhaps reset the relationship with the countryside, no. What they want to do is start talking about restricting shotgun ownership.
So getting a shotgun licence has become more expensive, but if they upgrade to the same level as having to have a rifle, it's going to become too difficult for people to have shotguns.
There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of shotgun licence holders. It is massive. If this consultation gets its desired result, which is to bring it in line with firearms licensing, it will have nothing to do with the desired impact, which the government want, which is to enhance public safety, but will absolutely decimate the economy and put conservation back so far. It will be a complete catastrophe.
And that's the argument. The rural argument is that shooting and conservation go hand in glove.
Oh, absolutely. Not even in question.
Jo, farmer's daughter, rural upbringing.
Well,
is it just a lack of understanding of the countryside?
It's a lack of understanding, but it's slightly worse than that. There's something, and there always has been. You know, I'll defend the Labour Party on many, many things, but not when it comes to rural affairs, because it runs through them like a stick of rock. They don't get it. They don't understand rural crime. They don't understand rural privations of lack of broadband, lack of transport, and all of those sorts of lack of affordable housing. The days of having your shotgun next to the Argus so Dad could go out and shoot the fox in the chicken den have long gone. The rules are so strict about shotgun licensing, which they should be. Absolutely. We do not want people who are not proper people to have shotguns.
No.
But the idea that you're going to bring one, it's a bit like, for people who don't understand, it's a bit like bringing up alcohol into the same level as heroin. It's bonkers.
It's a good analogy.
But
I like it.
It's a really silly
and licensing,
thing.
Reynold, licensing, it takes ages to get a licence.
Yeah, unfortunately and frustratingly it does. I recently moved house, and just to try and change my address, I still haven't got my certificate. It's still being processed, and so it's taking frustratingly long periods of time. And, clearly trying to supposedly enhance the system and make it even more, restrictive on individuals is going to make that even worse. I do think that Joe's onto something here about Labour. Wrongly, they see it almost as a class issue. But if you go to a clay pigeon shoot somewhere, you'll see people turning up in transit vans as much as in the Range Rovers. It's something that everyone can enjoy, and it should be something that everyone can enjoy. But for some reason, Labour MPs see it as a class issue.
There's a moral thing here about guns too, isn't there? They think they're superior human beings. If we get rid of all guns, then it'll be peace on earth for all time.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And, it's the same issue with the anglers that are at the Wingworth Lido that had their sport banned, which we've overturned. It's the same thing. It's a lack of understanding. And the Labour Party have a real opportunity. They've got around 100 rural MPs.
I know.
There was a huge amount of goodwill going into the last general election. Let's not forget what Keir Starmer said. We're going to restore that bond of respect between the countryside and the government.
Well,
and of course, one Labour MP has lost the whip, Campbell Savers, from up in
good man.
But there were 44 Labour MPs that abstained on that particular element of the budget. So there is I've always thought on the family farms tax that winning a concession was possible, because there's so many Labour seats vulnerable to this.
Yeah, it's also extremely bad politics. It was a row that didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
They should have realised early on after the first big protest that, actually, you know what, we probably don't need to have this, but they stuck to their guns, but in a really bad way.
It doesn't even raise a lot of money either, does it? It doesn't raise a lot of money.
Stuck to their guns.
Oh, very good. Always on message.
Fishing earlier.
I just want to ask you something. I'm so confused. You've about the angling ban in a Lido. I've got visions of people swimming and anglers.
So it used to be.
So they're not swimming there.
And it's existed since World War II without any problem.
Yeah. Now, Boxing Day is coming up, and of course that is the one big day of the year where there are hunt meets that take place all over the country. I understand up to 250,000 people attend these hunt meets, and I've been attending hunt meets, I think, since I was about 4 or something like that, and I went last year. And of course, we haven't actually had fox hunting for 20 years. But now there's even talks in Wales, I think. It's getting quite advanced. I mean, they're trail hunting now, aren't they?
They are.
But there's even talk in Wales of trail hunting perhaps coming under threat.
Oh, it's not just in Wales. It's across the rest of Britain. In England, the Labour government have a manifesto commitment to ban trail hunting. They seriously want to spend up to another 700 parliamentary hours debating hunting when the vast bulk of the UK population really
But it's not hunting anyway. It's trail hunting. I mean, Ranald, your lot, of course, didn't do anything to reverse the hunting ban in any way at all.
Well, so look, Theresa May did say she'd have a free vote on it, but as actually Mo says, it would involve a lot of parliamentary time, and there are a lot of other pressing priorities facing this country. And for Labour right now to say, supposed black hole economically, but whilst paying loads of money to Chagos, saying that there's so many domestic challenges that they're trying to overcome, that they've got great missions that they want to achieve, and yet to say that we're going to spend supposedly 700 hours of time on trail hunting. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Would you go to a Boxing Day hunt meet?
I've never been. I've got no objection to going. Maybe I should take my children one day.
I'm sure you've been, Joe.
I'm not in favour of hunting, I have to say, nor was my dad as a farmer.
Right, so you've never attended?
I have been and watched as a child, but I have been beating on Boxing Day, which is a very nice way to spend.
There you are. Well, what a rural get-together.
Who needs the archers,
And folks, as I said at the start of this segment, you might be living in the middle of a big city and this is not a subject, not something that actually interests you at all. But all I would say is allow minorities to get on with their way of life because they're not causing any harm to you whatsoever. Final thought.